Marcel Fonseca, welcome.
Thank you.
Goldplay. Tell me about the company. What's its history, and what are your objectives with the company?
Yes, it's a young company. Went public on the venture exchange 11 months ago. Our business is to acquire at low cost gold and silver assets in a particularly mining district in Mexico named Rosario in the state of Sinaloa. And we have 250 square kilometers of concessions that we own 100%.
This is land that you own.
We own that land because it's part of all the acquisitions that we did even before when we were private. Because before this company, I was heavily involved in mining finance in Mexico. So we as part of the group of investors, we identified 250 square kilometers that very attractive at the right time in the market to acquire. We went public in 2018 March, very tight capital structure, 41 million shares outstanding, 50 million shares fully diluted. At the early stage of the company going public, we got the attention of really large companies who became shareholders in this company. I have shareholders including Sandstorm Gold and SSR Mining. Both companies have a $1 billion Canadian market cap. So they participate in the initial financing or through transactions. To give an idea also what kind of investors we have as part of the group in the company, I have a mining engineering company based here in Vancouver, very active in Canada or actually all over the world, evaluating mines, building mines, operating mines, named JDS. So their last transaction in the market, that group was a silver asset in northern BC that they bought for $15 million US. 3 years later, they sold for $250 million.
So what was it about this property and your company that made them say, okay, we want in?
I'm happy to say that, of course, it's about track records. My and other people involved with the company, we have a good reputation about exploring, discovering, developing, and achieving successful exit strategies for investors with premium. My last transaction that I was directly involved with management was the sale of Silvercrest Mines, which was a company that I was directly involved from the early days as a banker, because as part of my background, other than geologist engineer, I spent 10 years as investment banker. I was invited by the client, Silvercrest Mines, to help them to organize the company and work together with the founders. And we sold the company in 2015 for $150 million, the Santa Elena mine, to First Majestic.
So we'll talk about your project, your site in Mexico. You've just released a press release a few days ago. What were the findings?
To give a bit of the background on that news release, when we bought this property, the San Marcial is a silver asset because the business of the company is gold and silver, although the name is Goldplay, but the district has gold and silver, 250 years of production records, multi-million ounce mines there, and companies like Fresnillo and First Majestic, big companies operate in that district. The reason we bought is because it was really the right time, probably 10 months ago, when the silver price was at the bottom of the market. Silver was at that time $14 per ounce. Today it's $15.60, and it's going up. And we got a very attractive deal to buy a property that had a lot of data, 52 drill holes.
At the time of purchase?
Yes.
Oh.
And that property, to give a bit of the idea of the transaction, we bought on a 3-year option from SSR, which is a shareholder from this company. That property was in the market in 2010 for the purchase price was $15 million US. Our purchase price is 2.5 million Canadian dollars.
Oh my gosh.
So that's the way that we approach business, looking for high quality assets at the right time. And when I say assets, about mining projects that I can see a way to enhance the value. Can be like we just released the new resource, or for low cost acquisitions. The one that we released the resource, as I said, we had 52 holes, but we realized that 22 of those 52 holes were not fully sampled. So we saved a lot of money not drilling. Instead of spending $150 per meter to drill, we spent only $22 per sample to send to the lab. In a record time, 8 months, we were able to release a maiden resource, which increased substantially the size of the project and it's showing to the market now how attractive it is for high-grade open pit.
Without even having to drill.
Yeah, we only assay, but that's why I saw the opportunity. And it's very unusual to have open pit silver mines. Most of them are underground, high cost. This one has a very continuous ore body on the initial 500 meters that have grades of 200 up to 400 grams per ton of silver, 10, 20 meters, which makes very attractive. And the history of this project is that in 2008, the resource, the historical, using only 30 holes, we have 52 now, was 30 million ounces of silver equivalent.
30 million, yeah.
22 silver. And we increased the resource indicated 57%, and we increased the inferred resource 44%. The numbers that we have today is like we increased from 30 million ounces of silver to 47 silver equivalent.
Wow.
So it's a substantial increase. That shows how robust is the project and why we were so aggressive to buy this one and put it as part of our 250 square kilometer portfolio. And it's next to other operators such as First Majestic, and it's part of the business to become a key player in this mining district named Rosario.
Well, you pointed out the fact that it is a very rich mining district. How does that help you to ensure that you have the infrastructure that you need to be able to move the resource to market?
Oh yeah, my career with the bank was all about due diligence.
Yes.
For the bank to lend money or invest money. And mining projects, one of the key points that might present a high risk to a project about logistics infrastructure, because that goes straight to capital intensity, how much money you need to put up front to get the mine up and running. This district have roads, power lines, small cities nearby, have 3 or 4 companies operating in the area. The largest city not far away, named Mazatlan, a lot of Canadians go there
Right.
for holiday, is a major commercial hub, a massive port.
Yeah, I looked it up on Google Maps. Not too far from Mazatlan.
And so that's
And so there's major highways,
Oh,
there's
exa-
access to water, the
exactly.
whole... Yeah.
And that was one of the key points when I was looking for properties to create a portfolio, to create the core of this business, to grow the company. Is we got to be close to an area that has a history and is mining friendly, has good infrastructure, and Mexico, as many people have asked me about safety, need to be in a good place in Mexico where we can operate all year round. So we are very comfortable on that basis as well.
And what about as far as a political and legal jurisdiction? What have you done to mitigate any risks that might be present there?
As I said, I've been working in Mexico although I'm Brazilian, I've been working in Mexico for more than 10 years. I'm very comfortable with the way the country is moving. Of course, there was a change of president. And every time you change a president in Latin America, you have different agendas, a different way to look at business. But mining has been core for business in Mexico. You have big mining companies. There will be some increase in costs, I believe so, some more regulation about permits. But Mexico will never let to be a mining country because Mexico is the largest silver producer in the world. So that's important. It's core business. So the way I see that there will be some sort of really volatility, but having projects that have high margin and are very attractive, that can mitigate the risk, in my opinion.
So where do we go from here?
We are a very open-minded company. What we are doing is to add value to the shareholders through their investment in this company. First, through the expansion of the resource, because the resource that we have done and released recently, which is high-grade open pit, very unusual, is the first step on 500 meters. We still have 3.5 kilometers inside the concession to explore. Actually, we released 3 weeks ago that we have identified 5 new targets. So you can see the numbers. On 500 meters, we have identified 47 million ounces of silver inside the pit, conceptual pit. We still have 3.5 kilometers with 5 targets. So right now, we have 5 geologists working on these 5 targets, preparing them to define drill targets, which we expect to drill some of them in 2019. In a way that in 12 to 24 months, we can have a new resource. Parallel to this, we are doing some engineering studies because it's important also to show to the market that we have a great project, but how does that sit in relation to metallurgy?
Yes.
So we are about to finish a brand new metallurgical test work. And other than that, I have mine engineers doing some pit designs to look how we can really work on the initial 500 meters. We have both avenues, and at the right time you make the decision. But of
Yeah.
course, it's a high quality property, and if you have a right premium, you might look at a transaction.
These are always questions that people have in the back of their mind.
And I've been on the side of investors because I spent pretty much a lot of time as a banker investing money for a bank. So it's pretty natural to have those questions. And important here is for investors to realize that management has a lot of skin in the game. We control 22% of the company through direct investment. That's very important. And together with these key shareholders, we are heavily involved in the business.
Means you're in it for the long run,
Yeah.
which of course is important to
Oh, yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything else that you'd like to add? Because it sounds like quite an exciting project.
Other than I'm extremely excited because it's really a very attractive story from the point of view that we are in a district that's really has a lot of history. So, and the best place to find a big mine is next to another big mine, in my opinion. Infrastructure is key. We have all these in place. Very tight capital structure. We have enough money in the bank to fund all the expenses for 2019. And having deep pocket shareholders that can assist us when you need it is a big plus.